Hi there, here we are at Module 3. We'll be talking about mixed methods. Obviously in Module 2 we've talked about our qualitative methods, and in previous modules we've talked about quantitative methods. Specifically in this module we're going to talk about the combination of the two, a mixed methods approach. As you can deduce, a mixed method approach takes components of qualitative research design and adds it to components of quantitative research design. Over the next couple of slides, we're going to talk about some of the strengths and weaknesses. We'll also talk a little bit about the ways that we can frame or think about using mixed methods research. And then ultimately, I'll have some examples for you. As we talked prior, there are strengths and weaknesses of quantitative and qualitative research. To no surprise, there will be those in addition in mixed methods. So what are some of the strengths of combining qualitative and quantitative research into this mixed methods approach? First of all, one of the beauties of this method has complementary strengths and ultimately non-overlapping weaknesses. It helps in some ways neutralize the weaknesses of each individual method, and when it combined provides some strengths. Secondly, one of the biggest strengths we're going to find from this approach is that it yields rich, in-depth data, which is something that necessarily is not possible from individual quantitative and or individual qualitative. Okay, so what are some of the weaknesses? If we talk about credibility in the field, it has not been regularly done in the sport management discipline. Therefore, we don't see it regularly in the research, and therefore it may not have the credibility that we would say quantitative methods has. The other weakness is that when it has been done, particularly in the sport management discipline, this methods approach, has been done weakly. It's combined weak components of qualitative and quantitative methods. So while it has been done, we can't say potentially it's been done at the highest level. Since mixed methods is a different way to approach research, we also need to think then about potential ways to think about the theoretical model or the theoretical framing of mixed methods research. Two ways that can commonly be used among sport management researchers are a post-positivist paradigm or a pragmatist paradigm. So first, what is a post-positivist? This paradigm or theoretical model strives for objectivity but recognizes observations aren't fallible. This, we need to make reference, falls specifically in accordance with that qualitative side. In addition, this theoretical paradigm or model emphasizes that research is both theory and value laden. Notice that specifically pulls in those quantitative and qualitative sides. Finally, it also wants us to consider that studies can be explained at least in part by multiple theories. Again, this paradigm helps us get our brains around why a mixed method approach would be a good theoretical model for our given research. Another potential theoretical model or paradigm for mixed methods approaches is pragmatism. This emphasizes that researchers should make methodological decisions based upon research questions, not worldviews. It allows us to tailor those research questions specifically to the research. And again, with this approach, pragmatists realize a mixed methods approach may be the best answer to that indeed research question. As we begin to wrap our brain around this mixed methods approach, I want us to think just generally about analyzing the data for our mixed methods approach. First, we can think about analyzing the data independently. We would analyze the quantitative piece we did, and then separately we would analyze the qualitative piece we did. Another option we could do, depending upon the research process, is this integrative fashion. While through the process of analyzing quantitative, we would begin to connect it and integrate it with the qualitative data. Both ways are potentially fruitful. It's obviously going to depend upon the research question as well as the outcomes, but I want us to recognize that it can be done both ways and both ways can produce fruitful outcomes. Our next several slides are going to come from Rudd and Johnson's article on a call for more mixed methods in sport management research. This article provides 3 specific examples of research that was done in typically a quantitative way and how adding a mixed methods approach may have been able to produce more meaningful or another layer of results. Let's talk about the first example. It came from the area of sport marketing. Rudd and Johnson's example discusses how a quantitative method was utilized to determine a relationship between team identification and intent to purchase team licensed apparel. Rudd and Johnson point out that adding that other layer or that mixed methods approach of qualitative methods would give us a deeper understanding of this relationship. It would help us answer the question of why these participants had an intent to purchase licensed apparel or they didn't have an intent to purchase licensed apparel. In doing this, this would help sport marketers be able to do a better job of marketing those products so that it would up the intention of people to purchase them. Our next example from Rudd and Johnson comes under the concept of organizational behavior. This specific example discussed was a research project done on examining turnover among male intercollegiate basketball coaches. A quantitative method data collection was employed, and it helped to demonstrate that this concept of person organization fit and another concept of leader member exchange had an impact on turnover. Rudd and Johnson point out that in order to better understand that quantitative data, we could add that layer of a qualitative method that would help us flesh out or better understand why. And also, additionally, Rudd and Johnson felt as if this additional layer of a qualitative method would further aid in determining an appropriate instrument to be utilized to determine coaching happiness in a coaching setting. Our third and final example from Rudd and Johnson deals with this example from a financial perspective. Rudd and Johnson considered a research project that used quantitative methods to determine the impact of an athlete's star status on fan attendance. It ultimately demonstrated that there was a relationship in attendance as related to that star athlete. Rudd and Johnson want to point out that a mixed methods approach or adding that qualitative research method layer would help us understand and explain the fans' attraction to that star player, as well as help us understand if there was a lasting appeal of that star athlete. And did that in and of itself impact attendance? We have found our way to the end of Module 3 on mixed methods approaches. I want to sum up with this thought of one of the most helpful things about the mixed methods approach is it helps us address this. Is it the cause or is it the effect? Did a star athlete cause me to attend the game, or is my attendance the effect of the star athlete? A couple of ways then that we could address these questions of is it the cause or is it the effect is that mixed methods approach.